right, with any luck, I think we are officially live. Welcome back to This Is Your Mind on AI. My name is Chris Mercer. Everybody just calls me Mercer. You're invited to as well. And here we are on day 2 of our little 3-day operator login training here, where we are moving from AI user into AI operator. Now, the very first thing I want to do is we're going to cover a little bit of day 1. I will make sure day 1's in the comments in the description if you want to watch that live stream, and you should if you haven't already. If you are here, by the way, and you're coming back, and this is maybe the second time you've been back or more, it's multiple times, and you have not yet subscribed, this is the time you should subscribe. If this is your first time here, please don't subscribe yet. Don't engage in any way other than keep viewing. Make sure it's something that's useful for you first. But everybody else, you already know you're back. So let's go ahead and subscribe. You can pop a comment in and be like, I got it, I'm back. You know, do something that engages the algorithm, that triggers it to say, hey, YouTube, there are other people like me that should also experience this, that should find this useful like I am. And that's why I'm experiencing this, to actually put a comment in and like the video and do the subscription and all the stuff that you're doing now, because you're a returning user and Google knows that. So then it's going to go to the algorithm. It's going to find people who are more likely into this topic, and it'll trigger it because you are operating YouTube. Yay, us. All right. Now, here's what I want to cover from day 1. Just really quickly to recap, I'm going to go into our little screen share here, and I wanted to cover, in fact, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, kind of what we talked about in our first episode together. And that was, when we go to AI, we are asking it often for what I want to do, right? We go to AI and we prompt it however we prompt it, right? And again, it doesn't really matter how we prompt it. However we prompt it, we're asking AI, here's what I want you to do, right? And we have then a gut check. And this is what we talked about in yesterday, right? Yesterday's we talked about this gut check response. So what do we do when we have this gut check response? There's only 2 options that are going to happen. One's going to be a green light. Hey, this is exactly what I need. In which case, continue, right? And this is where I'm just going to loop this back over. So this becomes continue this. So I'm going to pull this up. There we go. So now we go, okay, well, if it's exactly what I needed, then I'm going to continue to have you help me in the way that I need you to help me. However, if the response is, well, that's not exactly what I wanted, you're about to be caught in a user loop if you do the same style prompt again. Right? This is what we talked about yesterday using our user status prompts, that mirror prompt. So that is the awareness that we were trying to show you today. It's like, oh, this actually happens. This is how you know if you're not feeling right about the responses you're getting from AI. Listen to that signal. That's a huge. That's your AI machine telling you this isn't right, and I need you to change something. Right? I need you to configure something. And we talked about in Gmail how we have our Gmail accounts. In fact, that is the one thing I did not open up. So I'm going to do that really quickly here, because I should have already had that open. So when we have Gmail, we talked about how we have all this different mail that comes through in Gmail. And then we have and you kind of think about the way that I look at it is like, imagine AI was like, all the Gmail that you have in your big giant Gmail. Most of us have this. This account doesn't. It's brand new. But the idea is that most email has a ton of email in it. Mine has thousands and thousands of emails. Now imagine if I had to go through and search all that email to get the exact email that I was looking for. Well, I could just search through everything one at a time and go through it one at a time. That's kind of what people do sometimes, right? You could. Or I can use the search that's up here, and I could say, well, hey, I just want to see the stuff that's, from Google. Like in this case, it's going to be basically everything. So then I can see all of that. But if I just want to see the stuff that's Google Gemini, well, I can do some configuration, right? Because I understand that I am operating Gmail now. I was just using it to search, but now I got some stuff, but not a bunch of emails. So I want to be able to get a better quality response. I switch to operator mode, so I configure it. So I'm clicking a little advanced section there. And now it's like, oh, it has the words Google Gemini. That's what I want to make sure it has. And so I want to make sure that everything has that, but I also wanted to make sure that it's in the subject line only. So now I can hit search, and now I get subject Google Gemini. Oh, that didn't work at all. I got rid of all of them. Why is that? Oh, because greater than megabytes, date within a day. I don't want date within a day. Let's say within a year. So here's all the Google Geminis within a year. That didn't work either. Now, this is why we go live knowing that. I don't know. Let me just put this back. This is why I should have practice this ahead of time, but let's see. Date within, let's do this. There we go. There's our Google Geminis. Oh, hello. It's because I was asking it for the subject, and it shouldn't be the subject. It should have been, I was trying to get this. It should have been the from. Anyway, you get the point. You can search, you can adjust. because I'm configuring the machine. Even if I operate it incorrectly, it doesn't matter because I know that I'm operating it, so I can switch the signal. I don't get mad at Gmail for not getting a response. But actually, this was a really good example because if I misconfigure it, which I did here, right? Imagine this with AI, and I go, oh, AI gave me a bad response. My Gmail's broken. I guess Gmail sucks, right? And that's what happens is you go, oh, well, Gmail's clearly broken. Well, no, this is just an operator error. I know that I misconfigured it. I don't think Gmail broke. I think, oh, I'm not showing any emails. I should be seeing emails. It's not matching the expectation that I have. So how do I change that, right? And so in Gmail, we're going to configure it. I check my configuration, go, oh, I messed up. Let me just configure it correctly. Now I get the emails I was actually trying to get in the first place. The ones in this case that say Google Gemini. So there's an experience now of, okay, using Gmail, flipping into the operator mode. And all that really means is you are configuring Gmail, right? Changing your settings a little bit to make it a better experience, including something like search. And in this case, the advanced search that's available in Gmail. Now, how does this relate to AI? Glad you asked. This is how it relates to AI. Remember, this is email. So imagine we're email. Hey, I want you to go into search. I'm asking for this. My gut response was, nope, that's not exactly what I needed. And then if I keep doing it in the same loop, which is what I did, I didn't check to see if it was misconfigured. I kind of did, but I changed the dates. I changed the wrong thing and it gave me a loop. It was that still like, oop, that's not exactly it. Nope, that didn't work either. And I was like, that's where I was starting to panic a little bit. Because I'm doing this live, right? So I'm thinking, okay, live with no net, this is what you get. And already I got little stuff in my head going negative speaking and talking and everything else. And I'm like, all right, don't need those. That's not useful. What's actually useful about here? I've misconfigured it. Let's go see where I can just go back to the start, figure it out. I did. Then it's configured properly. My gut response goes, yep, that's exactly what I needed. And I continue to configure it in the way that it's configured as long as it's useful, right? So now I'm going to show you how to do that with AI. Because all we did yesterday is make you aware of this part, the fact that there is a user loop and that now hopefully you're starting to become aware of it a little more, and you certainly will the more you use AI, the more you realize like that weird little gut check, you're like, oh, this thing, like why? And you start feeling like you have to argue with it, or you're like, no, it's not like that, it's like this, or it's like, oh no, it's a great idea, but now I need this. And that's almost the worst because it feels like it's a good thing that it's giving you all this extra work. Or I don't want that. I just want the thing done, right? So one is basically instead of asking AI, here's what I need to get from you. Here's what I need you to get. It's instead what we call a configured ask. And this is where you're operating because you're configuring how you're prompting now. Just like you do with Gmail, and we configured the search, we're going to configure how we prompt. And when that goes into the AI machine, it's going to come back with something that's a little bit better because instead of asking, here's what I want you to do, or here's what I want you to go get, instead it's give me this. I don't care how you do it, give me this. This is what I need. And that's what the configured prompting is going to do. So now that's what we're going to talk about today. What do those prompts look like? And then we're going to pick it right up with where the mirror prompt left us off at. So again, if you didn't play around with participate in day one, go back to day one so you have that and understand that. And we're going to pick it up now with our mirror prompt from day two. Now, what is the mirror prompt? Here's a mirror prompt. So if you go right into thisisyourmindonai.com, I did not do a great job of pointing that out yesterday, but that's all you do. So you go to thisisyourmindonai.com. You will see it's public. You do not have to log in. I'm just going to get the screen out of the way here. So you can, of course, join it and log in if you want at any point that you want to. This is the free community part. So join in, log in. You can participate in the comments and all sorts of other fun stuff, especially as these experiences continue, because we're going to grow this community, and this is a brand new start. So we're going to call this the friends and family stage of what the community is. So, but you've got your mirror prompt here, and all we did is we used this piece, right? And we put in our little situation, which in this case was the drunk drawer. So we had like, I got this drawer I'm trying to clean up. How do I actually go through and do it? And we saw the different ways that AI was responding so that we can kind of feel like, all right, I need to do something different here, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that prompt that it gave us, which was kind of like it almost like it left us off with like, hey, I realize something's off. I just don't know what exactly is off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the chat. Specifically, actually, I'm gonna do two things here. So I'm gonna put this, let me go to the full screen. I'm gonna put this in chat here, and it is what I put here. So this is so you can see it both places. So this is the actual thing that came back from the prompt this was just a configured ask technically. But this is what I did when we got the prompt. That was my example during the actual live training yesterday. So now what we're gonna do is I'm taking this as the input for the other one so I can show you. Now you know something's wrong, right? And that's what all this is supposed to help us with, is to get used to that feeling of I need to stop, not just prompt the same way. I need to stop for a second and reflect upon what is happening right now. I am not trying to get my email written. I am, or trying to clean a drawer. I am trying to give myself permission to start cleaning the drawer. And now I can go to AI, and I know this is going to sound weird. You can go to AI and say, great, now I know I need to get permission to start cleaning. How do I do that? Because I am not cleaning. I am sitting here talking to AI, right? And that's the whole point of this, is you as a human need to be in the real world taking action on stuff. In this case, cleaning the drawer, writing the email, creating the website, designing the marketing campaign, coming up with a new recipe, curing healthcare, anything you want. You need to be in the world doing that. AI can help you do that, but only if you're able to operate AI, which means you know how to configure it to help you to do that. That is what I'm about to show you now. So here's what we're going to do. We're picking up where we left off. I am going to go into, let's do this one. We're going to switch into Gemini here. And I'm gonna show you the first prompt that we're gonna do. This is Mind on AI. This is already in here. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is the deep search, right? This is what we call map maker prompts, and there's really only two configurations. One is the map maker, which is when you're working with AI and you're just not sure, something's off, like it's kind of there, but it's not all there, right? You know it's kind of right, but there's a lot more that you don't know, but you can kind of sense is there if only you knew how to ask, right? It's that kind of feeling. When you have that type of feeling, map maker all day long. That's what you use. You use map makers. Now there's different versions of map makers, and this is just one of them. And tomorrow we're gonna show you kind of an automated way of doing this, which is even better. But I want you to understand how it works. This is the mechanics of it. So we're gonna do this manually. So what I'm doing here, let me just go ahead and zoom in. So I'm gonna go into show more, and all of you can do this right now if you want. We're gonna go to deep search protocol, because what's happened is we're picking up with a drunk drawer where it basically says, hey, you're just looking for permission to start. Okay, that's awesome. Like, I don't even know what you'd call that, Dr. Phil. Thanks, Dr. Phil. But I don't need a psychological counselor. I need a clean drawer. So yeah, that's great. I'm looking for permission to start. Please get me to start, right? So that's what this next step is, because what's happening is you would realize, oh, I'm getting a weird result, which is it tells me something that is useful, which is, hey, you're just trying to get started. And I'm like, yeah, Einstein, thanks. How do I get started, right? But that feeling when you're kind of going in a loop, if you keep asking it that, hey, how do I get started? It's going to go right back into user loop again. You need to ask it, how do I get started, in a way that you don't know how to ask. And that's what deep search helps us with. It's a way of doing that. That's what these map maker styles are for. That's why I put map maker in here so you can see where they are. I will also tag them in the community too so you can see them. But what we're going to do is we're going to pull this out. So here we are. I'm experiencing inbox overload, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to create a new conversation, brand new Gemini conversation. That's all we did. Just wanted to expand it out, go to new chat, pops you up, right? That's all you need to do. I'm pasting in that prompt, just copy and paste it is all I'm doing. And I'm taking everything that I had in chat, which is in there. So everybody should be able to see that. And we're going to paste it right in here. So where it says insert your problem here, that's literally what I'm pasting in there. So where it says my situation, right? So just kind of make, this is the first part of it. I'll just make it, you don't have to do this. I'm just kind of do so you can see how where I organized it. So it's basically like this. Here's the first part, right? Here's all the stuff you need to do. I'm experiencing inbox overload. And the whole idea is you're trying to get the AI to configure itself in a mode that when you give it the input, when you give it the prompt that you actually want it to do, it's ready to say, oh, in my case, it'll say, this guy has no idea what he's asking for, but at least I know that. So I'm going to go back and find the stuff that he should be asking for, assume he asked it, and then reply back as if he had. So that he doesn't have to do the work, because why would I want to do all that work? So that's what we're doing here. So I just pasted in everything that was in that user status that I got from the other gem, right? Two completely different disconnected conversations. Now, let's find out what's going to happen, because I've never done this. Again, I'm using the free Gemini accounts. You can use ChatGPT, Claude, doesn't matter. The LLM does not matter what AI you use. This is just how the AI or AI as a technology works. All right, so now we're trying to move forward, right? So I had this feeling of like, okay, great, I want to get started and I need permission to get started. And clearly that's true because I'm not cleaning my drawer. How would I need to see what I'm not seeing, right? So we're going to look for that unseen map. So now we're going to go through and now we're going to experience what this is. I'm going to go to full screen here a little bit so we can, oops, do this one. There we go. So competence, capacity, permission of paralysis, high level patterns, blah, blah, blah. Now, again, I'm not worried about the tone. I'm looking at the pattern that's coming through. Is this useful or not? Am I vibing with this right now? So far, I'm not sure. So it's still kind of yellow light for me. So the hidden patterns, implementation trap. Okay, makes sense. I'm trying to get, it's not the task itself. It's the imperfection of the initial blueprint, which probably makes sense. I'm too busy planning out how to do the drawer instead of actually doing the drawer. So I'm an implementer. This is great because this is now starting to feel good, right? I'm an implementer. Yes, I am. It's weird that I'm not implementing, right? But I am an implementer. It's wired for execution. It's a powerful strength. Okay, yay me. So far, green light. Blueprint precondition, excellent implementer. Wiring has created cognitive precondition. Okay, a little complicated language, but I'm not here to make it correct. I'm trying to figure out what's useful about it. So for me, I'm just like, okay, my wiring, I can't begin until the external blueprint is secured. And that's the problem, is I've basically put a gatekeeper in charge of my own implementation. I will implement automatically if I have a blueprint that allows that. Right now, my blueprint says don't implement, just plan. And when you get to step 2, go back to step 1. And that's what's happening, right? I'm looping myself. But now I can see that that's happening. So it's a little easier to maybe get out of my own head and get to work, get the thing done that I need. So here's the reality inbox, right? We get the simple administrative. We got this not a complex engineering challenges is good. It does not have a simple perfect blueprint as a simple starting step, right? You just need to take a step. So then it's, all right, great. This disconnect, right? The step you take, that's not the loop anymore. Now we're starting to move. This, if you imagine driving a car, this is when you realize you've been driving your car in circles all this time, when the user loop is just spinning in circles. And you're like, oh, wait, I thought I was in the back seat and the car was driving itself. Turns out I just needed to climb in the front seat because the car was kind of driving itself, but I can also steer it and I can override it because it's kind of glitching. And I need to do that. So you get in this front seat and now you start driving the car. That's what we're doing now. We're driving the AI with this mapmaker prompt right now. And I'm going to show you a different one that'll close the loop here. So now we've got the helping us think differently, process differently what's going on, right? We're operating ourselves a little differently now. Seeing how I'm thinking about cleaning the drawer is really the problem. It's not, I don't know how to clean a drawer. It's not hard, right? Physically, I know how to clean a drawer. It's my thinking around the drawer being dirty and why it's not clean yet that's causing the issue. And that's what basically this is helping me to see, right? So, hey, the reason you're stuck is you're trying to find the perfect plan for a process that only requires an arbitrary immediate start. This is not just about junk drawers anymore. This is about like my life. You don't need a plan, though that's what I used to do all the time. I was really good at it, really good at it. I could forecast income or any sort of trend or pattern by week for almost a year in advance. I'm very good at that stuff. And none of that matters. So because what was happening was I was too busy planning, in this case, doing a junk drawer, cleaning it out and not actually starting it. And I need a way to get myself to spark, right? That's what it's basically telling me here. So it's like, all right, I need this simply arbitrary starting rule. Now, at this point, I would say, yeah, this seems really good, right? I'm thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I need. I'm just trying to get to the start. It seems like an arbitrary starting rule to cut through the inertia would begin the cleanup. So I'm just going to be like, yep, that sounds great. Let's do it. So I go into just maintaining how I would normally feel like I'm going to prompt. It's a good response. That feels like a good way to prompt it. So now we're going to come and we're going to see, do I get it? So, because this was kind of green light for me. It was like, all right, cool. I get it. It's changing how I think about stuff. And that's what changes your actions. If I change how I think about things, it's not how do I clean this junk drawer? It's how do I make sure I never have another junk drawer in life ever again because I think differently about them so they never appear so I never have to clean them, right? That's what we can do with AI. And so that's kind of what's doing. So the reason you're stuck is trying to find a perfect plan. So I'm getting the up. So now it's going to come through first 5 emails in your inbox using this 2-minute rule, open the inbox, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is because it's talking about this weird little, it got confused because the inbox thing, right? Now I'm red light. So it's like, open my inbox. Wait, I was talking about junk drawer. Look at the oldest email you've not processed. It'd be done in 2 minutes late. If the inbox takes longer than 2 minutes. Now, this is because the way that this prompt was set up, it's because this inbox overload. It's making some assumptions, right? So at this point, it's like, all right, I've got a red light. It was good, right? I used the map maker prompt. It was good. Now I said, yep, let's continue. And it came back with the map maker saying, here's what we think you're talking about, because you didn't really tell us we think it's this. We think it's email now that we're trying to help with. And that's not it. I want to try to get the junk drawer. So what I'm going to do is now I have to go back and I got to bring in a different prompt. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go back to, instead of deep search, which again gives us kind of a background of how we're thinking about stuff. So we have the insights around that, but it doesn't necessarily lead us to action. Now that I know I am thinking differently about the junk drawer, right? And thinking about like, okay, the idea is not like, don't get me wrong. I want a clean drawer and we're still going to do that. But as I'm doing that, why not think about this in such a way that I never have to do this ever again? Ever, because it can't happen. And it's more like just sort of crafting your life so that junk naturally doesn't go into drawers, right? And I mean that in the real world, but also very much mentally. Just junk just doesn't go into the mental cabinets that we store it all in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch the AI mode, and I'm going to configure the ask again because it's not working the way that I wanted it to. I got a red light. So going back to, let's go back to this here. So going back to our diagram, the first time it worked, I used the map. So I got the, here's what I want. And I used the map maker prompt, which technically was already a configured ask, right? So I'm already using that little prompt in there and I knew I was doing that. So I got this configured ask. It gave me exactly what I needed. So I continued to ask, help me in the way that I want you to help me. And I just said, yep, that was the response. Yep, because it seemed like it was working. So I kept it up. Then I got the gut response again. This time, nope, that's not what I want. I got to do a different prompt style. So now the map maker mode needs to stop. If I keep doing map maker, I'm just going to confuse myself into ethereal insights that'll make me feel amazing and I won't do anything. And this is how you go down AI rabbit holes for 6 hours. I have been there. I'm sure you have too occasionally, where you just feel like, man, I feel like I have all this new stuff that I know, and yet I'm not at all more useful. I'm not actually doing anything with it. And that's okay, because all this stuff's meant for another reason. But now's the time to put it in action. So I need to get into action mode. And when we need action mode, we have a different prompting configuration. So we're going to flip out of deep search, which is kind of more exploring, right? That's when you bring in your map maker to say, I need the map. I need you to make me a map of what's going on so I can take a look and see for myself, because then you're going to know what to do, right? You'll just naturally get the next action, just like you would with a GPS. If somebody gives you GPS, you're just hardly ever lost. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go back and we're going to pull this one, which is the filter. So at this point, map maker, we're going to use the filtering mechanism here to tell us what's the one thing we were trying to do. So this one's a little different. We call this one the director, because that's really the two sides of you and AI, I guess, for that matter. But the idea is the map maker can stop, and it's when you need to take a look around and see where you are in the maze of life, right? That's kind of the map maker. Show me the map of where I am, so you now know what to do next. When you need to do something and you know you need to do it, that's director mode. You're already taking the action. But sometimes you don't know how exactly to take the action you want to take, but you know the action you need. And that's kind of what this is. It's like, all right, I need to use the director because I'm going to give it the exact same status prompt that we got before from the mirror. Only now I'm going to say, hey, director, I know how to think about this. The map maker basically told me how to think about it, right? Completely new conversation I'm going to have with the director and say, okay, director, this is what I really need to know here. What is the thing I really need to know that I can go take action on right now? I don't want to just think about it. I need to make sure this is clean. So how do I do this? And that's what director does. So we're going to pop this in there. And I'm just going to flip into this conversation. So this is director. So again, we're doing the same thing. I'm just going to pretty this up so you can see kind of how I'm doing it. So we're going to pop this. Okay. So it's the same type style prompt, right? Only this, it's like, okay, cool. Act as a director. Again, don't get caught up in the words. The words are so not important. It's not even funny. It's the pattern that it's doing. It's a configuration is what this is. This is a specific pattern that is configured to tell AI, do something with this. And then it's going to respond in a way that should be more useful. So I'm going to go through and grab what I think is my chat. Okay. And paste that here. All right, just gonna paste out and paste in. All right, so there it is. So now we're gonna see how this one does. So this one should be a more direct action. So one is, here's how to think about this. And it's like, oh, wow, yeah, maybe my real problem is not how do I solve this one clean junk drawer, because I clearly know how to clean a junk drawer. It's how do I keep getting junk in the drawer in the first place? And I need to do a better question to AI, because that's actually what I'm trying to figure out. And maybe that's the piece I'm missing on the blueprint. I don't know. Let's find out. So, and again, I haven't used these prompts before. I will always do this live because I think it's important to kind of, for me to experience it the first time that you're experiencing it. Because it doesn't mean it's always going to be right, but then I can show you how to adjust, because welcome to AI. Okay, welcome back. Signals established, rules are going to be set. Zero momentum, powered by plan-seeking inertia. We're not going to fight the inertia. We're going to render it irrelevant. Sounds great. Let's see, firing blanks. Let me just go back into full screen for you here. There's no target. We're going to provide a target so small it's not going to register on the fear sensor, which is perfect because fear is what keeps us from taking action. That's why I think that's very important to keep in that sort of direction. The constraint, the action can be so small that fear does not register. Like it doesn't even occur to me to not do it, is basically what I'm trying to get to here. So here's the smallest action. I grant you permission to start. You only require output as a physical artifact that signifies that you started. Single smallest thing. So most obvious physical action, pick up a writing tool, pen, marker, pencil, etc. That's all. Don't write, don't think about the rule, just make the physical action, bring an implement to your hand. Momentum, why not? I'm going to play along. I'm going to grab a pen. So, yep, got it. Got it. Okay, so now I got my pen. So zero momentum inertia. I'm actually using my mouse with my pen in my hand still. Not a complex pen, next small size, permission logic, write down the rule. Write the word stop on a paper. It's not the final rule, it's a placeholder. Minimum color lows. Okay, write the word stop. I'm going to do that, right? So I'm literally just playing along here. So I'm going to say stop. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to experience this as an operator. I want to make sure we're doing this on purpose. This is not something you read and imagine that you did. When you are working with AI, it is a lot more useful for you to play along with the thing, because it's not a separate thing. It is your own thinking being mirrored back to you, and you're asking yourself to do it, so go through it, because it's something that you need to experience. And as you do, you will pop an insight. There will be a weird, like, connecting the dots feeling often. It almost feels like those shower moments when you're in the shower and you're like, oh my God, I got this amazing idea, and it just sort of hits you out of nowhere. It's like that, but all the time when you start doing this. That's why it's important to participate. It's why you will hear me say participate over and over and over again. Speaking of, now is a great time to put comments, like, and subscribe, especially if you have been here. Maybe this is your first time and you're starting to dig this. That's when we send the algorithm, right? In this case, YouTube, we're going to operate technology, and we send the algorithm message that says, hey, a bunch of people like this right now. They left comments, they subscribed at this point. That goes out to the audience and then brings people back in, because you're telling the algorithm, hey, this is something that's useful. And I thank you for that. All right, let's go back. Now, so I just did the word stop, and I did the word stop written down. So, yep, I did it. So now what's happening is it's automatically, here's what I'm experiencing. I'm taking action. This thing is literally causing me to take action. Talk about being automated with .tech, which is the name of the other site that I have. But that's what this is. Now, so it's the next small step. Okay, write the word stop. Now write the word breathe, right? So what it's doing is it's giving me into action. And I'm like, okay, great. Got the pattern, right? Now I'm getting, so at first it was a little weird red light, but it wasn't a red light that caused me to be like, well, this is dumb. It was a red light of, this is weird, it's asking me to do this, but I'm going to see where it goes. And as I'm seeing where it's going, I know exactly what's going to happen. I got the pattern now. It's going to keep doing this, right? So stop, breathe. Then it's going to keep going with the thing. But now I'm starting to get a red light of, I want to get ahead and clean the drawer, right? We're going to bring this to real world. So it's like, got the pattern, did the actions. How do I clean the drawer now? Now, honestly, I already know this answer. I would never ask this in real life. I would already be cleaning the drawer, because I go, oh, never mind. AI is just telling me to get moving. And I would know how to do this because I'm an operator of AI, and I'm not arguing with it saying, why are you telling me to stop? That's what everybody else does. That's what you maybe used to do. That's what I used to do. Why are you telling me to stop? What's the purpose of this? Blah, 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 right? So now it's like, all right, you've shifted. We're going to clean the drawer. Now we're just going to go into touch the handle, the edge, the face of the target drawer with one finger. It's just, and you've seen these patterns before, because this is just how humans work. This is biology. Just starting a process that's so dumb and tiny can get you to just get the rest of the waterfall, right? Everything else just sort of flows out. That's what it's trying to do. Go to the drawer and touch it. And by the time I go to the drawer and touch it, I promise you I'm going to open it. I'm going to look around. I'm going to clean up something, right? Now, does this mean this is the perfect drawer cleaning AI? No, I am showing you handles that you can use on this machine, right? I'm showing you how to use two very different style paintbrushes that are made for very different style things, but there's a million different variations of each one of those brushes. And that's what the rest of This Is Your Mind on AI is going to be about, because I'm going to start doing gems, and we're going to combine all these and automate it, because that's when it gets fun. One is learning how to paint on your own, and this is what we're kind of doing. And then there's like the paint by numbers, right? Which is what I actually prefer doing in the real world, because I don't think I really have artistic talent, at least not yet. But the paint by numbers is where you can actually go through and you're kind of filling the paint where the numbers are. That's what a Gemini gem kind of does. And that's what we're going to do is I'm going to create these gems. We're actually going to combine this, because right now I'm showing you how to manually go through it and experience how you use the director style prompt and the map maker style prompt. I'm going to do one more example of that, and then we'll wrap it up. But tomorrow, what I'm going to do is we're going to automate it, because right now I'm trying to show you how to actually operate it. That's important, because even as you use the gems, you're going to want to use them like an AI operator. You don't just ever flip back into user mode. You realize that's not the best way to use AI, is just as a user. You have to also understand that you have admin ability. You can kind of get into the secret menu that is the configuration of how to configure the prompt. And when you know how to configure the prompt, not just how to prompt, how to configure the prompt that you're prompting, that's different. And that's what gives you a much more useful response back from your AI. That said, the gems that I'm going to show you how to create this, we're going to automate this tomorrow, this whole process, and then you'll have access to that as well. But as we create that, you're going to see that that's automated, and you don't have to, it's not as hard as it sounds. Because if you're somebody that's got some experience with it, maybe you want to paint your own. But most of the time, we just kind of want a pretty picture. And we kind of need the paint by numbers. And that's what I use. I use gems a lot. So I'll show you all that stuff tomorrow as you automate it. What I want you to do now is practice a little bit with these gems. So I'm going to do that one more time, just so we can see kind of what's happening here. So I'm going to go back to a new conversation. So I'm going to start a new chat. And I have my director still in here, I believe. Nope, I don't. Let me pull in our director. So here's our director. So this is, again, the thing that's the real stupid simple, like, hey, how do we get this to be really simple? And I'm going to go through and, oops, there's our new chat. Okay. And we're going to paste this in. And I'm going to say, insert the problem here. And I'm going to say, my situation is I'm trying to figure out how to eventually demonstrate what is highly likely to be the most obviously useful experience of this particular prompt for those, and I'm talking about you right now, those who are viewing me doing this right. I can spell that right now. I'm typing during a live stream, and they are watching it happen. And none of us have any idea if this will work. And what I mean is useful. Like it to be what is highly likely to be the most obviously useful experience for all participants. Now, this is a little more advanced, what I would call latent experience prompting, but I want to show you kind of how you can do this when you have these prompting skills. Well, I just know how to configure it. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to hit enter and we're going to find out. But I do know how to get AI to do some really cool things. And I'm trying to give it a little magic here. I'm basically saying, I'm not quite sure. I just need you to do something really cool for everybody. I don't know what it is though, but we're going to do it. So we're going to see what it is. So here's the rule of single action, where it goes, authorize single minimal physical action, move your mouse cursor to the text box where you're currently typing, where you plan to paste the result of this interaction. Okay. This universal recognized, low stakes physical action. So, all right, this was saying the action is complete with like identify a single smallest action or articulate meaning value. Yes, let's do that. Now, this particular bot it really is extreme director, but it's on purpose. It is pure director. The other one is pure map maker, right? So directors are going to be very much like do the simple thing in front of you simply. And this is probably too simple to the point where it's not going to be as useful for me all the time, but it's the spirit of the director for sure. And you'll see tomorrow how we adjust this. But you see the difference between the two. So here's the rule of articulation, articulating value. I need to do this. So inhale, that makes sense. The simplest thing to do is inhale, right? So now what's the thing I need to actually do to demonstrate? And I can keep going. And it's like, and again, I get what it's doing, which is like, hey, start with the simplest thing. It's like, oh, I just need to inhale and now I can start doing this. And here's the first word. And then what is the first word? So, which is probably makes sense because I do that a lot. So let's move on to the next thing I'm going to demonstrate, which is how this exact same input changes with map maker, because that's really the real demonstration here. So we're going to go to a new chat and I'm going to paste this in as our input. And then I'm going to go get our map maker, same exact ones that you can go grab. And this is what you should do. Play with these. Same prompt. I'm basically giving it 2 different configurations. And why am I doing that? I'm doing that because as an operator, I'm trying to build my skills with AI. And this is how you start understanding the vibes. How I'm not trying to get anything done here other than trying to figure out how I vibe with stuff. And is it working the way I need it to work? And blah, blah, blah. So now I'm going to go in here as a situation and let's just see what it does. So it isn't hesitation, it's the engine of powerful, focused insight. The truth is the most useful demonstration is the moment of genuine shared uncertainty unfolding live, which maybe is true. The fact that I have no idea how this is going to react and the fact that you have no idea how this is going to react, but guess what? It reacted totally differently, right? Vibe, intense, self-imposed pressure. It's a feeling of trying to edit a movie while the camera's still rolling and every audience member is looking over your shoulder. That's exactly what I'm going through right now, because that's exactly what's happening right now. But again, same prompt. Now, if I just put the prompt in, and it will give you the example. This is an unconfigured prompt, right? So this is just, hey, I'm trying to get AI to help me in the way that AI is supposed to help me. And that's it. This is the way that I think AI will help me. It's going to give me a bunch of work is what's about to happen. This is my guess. It's going to come in and it's going to say, here's all the stuff you can do to make sure that you can do this thing. So especially doing it live, figure out the most, now it's a lot more fun to experience this, right? But the other ones sort of strip out all the fun little sycophant style stuff it does. This one isn't. This is the regular intern mode. This is its default mode. And you can see how different it is. Here's strategies. The prompt, ask me to form a complex every day with valuable output. Here's some copy and paste stuff you could do, right? But this is not going to be anything particularly useful for anybody. It's the same way if we all know how to use AI. Knowledge synthesizer, ask me to compare, contrast. So it's just different style. It's different style prompts that the intern would do, but what is it really doing? And this is what I want you to experience here. What's happening here is not helpful and useful for me because I don't need this stuff. What it's doing is it's giving me work to do this. It thinks this is the most obvious useful work for me to do, but it's still work, right? I'm not feeling like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. I'm not trying to do that at all. This was not at all what I was trying to do with that prompt. I was trying to do something. I was trying to actually demonstrate director and map maker, which clearly I did. But now I've got this completely different thing that's all this extra work. And here's another way that you can do extra work. And here's another idea for extra work. Right now, it's even saying, here's some work that we can do right now. If you want to start it, can I generate more work? So now I can do email drafts. And it's like, okay, well, I guess we do email drafts, but now I'd be stuck in a user loop because I didn't want email drafts. I didn't want to do emails. I didn't want to do any of that work. And why would I listen to AI? And this is important. Why would I listen to AI if I don't agree with it? Because it's not something separate. AI does not lead me. I am an AI operator. I operate it, which means I am using it and I'm configuring it as I am using it. That's what makes you an AI operator. It's just realizing that you can configure it as you are using it. Just like with Gmail. You can configure Gmail as you're using your Gmail. You can change your settings and it changes how Gmail is configured, what shows up. You can search for different things. It shows what emails show up. Same thing with Director Mapmaker. Those two sort of extremely different style configurations will dramatically change the responses you get from the AI, no matter if the prompt is the same. And that's because of how we're configuring it to think through, to process how that prompt is processed by how we are processing it. And that's what we'll talk about more tomorrow as we go into the gem, because a lot of that can be handled by AI. At a certain point, you start realizing, oh, I can get AI to do anything. Why don't I just have AI do all this thinking for me so I don't have to think about director and map maker, and just it does it on its own, and I just get the stuff that I need no matter how I ask it. And that's the beauty of what's possible. So that is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Okay, so with that, I want to make sure I've covered everything I believe that we have. We've gone through it, you know, where the patterns are, we got what the prompts are. And at this point, it's that it. So we're going to build the machine tomorrow. We're going to put it on kind of automatic pilot is what's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm going to show you how to automate all of this stuff using Gemini Gems, which we will introduce to everybody tomorrow if you haven't played with those yet. And of course, we'll have that on thisisyourmindonaI.com as well. So a couple of real quick calls to action if it makes sense for you. First is to join the Automated with .tech and This Is Your Mind on AI. So This Is Your Mind on AI is where you want to go. So I'm just going to get to the feed here. So just go here. If you want to join this, you are more than welcome to join it now. It is really early. This community is just getting started. Quite literally, we're building it in front of everybody. This is the first series that's starting it. So this is just the one where it started. So it's going to be kind of boring, not a lot back there. You're going to see me pop some things in there, and then eventually you're going to start to see it light up. But you're more than welcome to join there. Now, if you like experiences like this and you want to be able to play with some cool gems, because there's some really cool things coming, and then I'll show you all of that stuff back there. If you want to learn how to do all of this, in that case, you want to do Automated with .tech. Now, if you want to learn that stuff, we currently have what we call Backstage Pass open right now. That is going to be a paid community. Right now, it is free. I'm going to keep it open through December, through the end of this year of 2025. Then that'll get locked down. So come in now is what I'm saying. Like, this is the best time to be there. You can, again, it's separate community because it's a separate function. It does something different. But if you do, you can create your free account there. There's a little bit more back here for you, and definitely starting to ramp up here. This is something that wasn't ramping up for a while, and now is because we're doing this. It's just kind of what we call friends and family stage is all over now, and now it's Backstage Pass. So get in there now while that is still open. At that point, you'll retain that for life. So you have that. It's a little bribe for you, if anything, to make it make sense. But only if you really want to understand director and map maker and creating your own prompts and configuring and creating your own gems and all of that sort of stuff. If you really want to understand the art of this and the more the sciencey part of the art, that's what I would recommend. It's Automated with .tech. If you just want to play with the rides that we are about to create on this channel, and starting with the first one tomorrow, which you will get some experience with, then This Is Your Mind on AI. And of course, you can always do both. So it's up to you, however you would like to do that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring this one to a close. Thank you again for being a part of This Is Your Mind on AI. This is day 2 of Operator Login. And now we have an understanding of how to sort of sift through our Gmail accounts and sift through our AI responses. We know we can configure prompts and get dramatically different results. And we know that we need to configure the prompt when we get that signal, which we learned on day 1, that signal that says, something's not quite right here. So that means I need to configure the prompt differently than I'm about to do. Now I'm going to do it the opposite way I've been doing it. So if you've been configuring with more of a director style, configure with more of a map maker. And if you've been using more map maker style, configure with a director style. And then we will talk more about how to actually automate that tomorrow so that you don't have to worry about which one to do. And we'll let AI take care of it because let's face it, it's an automated thinking machine as long as we help it to become that for us. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. As always, thank you for subscribing, for sharing, for commenting. Now is definitely the time to do that if you've been around here this long. Also, by the way, for sharing. We are just getting started and purpose built. I'm getting started this experience, not with a big giant email list, not with a bunch of paid ads or anything like that. We're not trying to make a splash. I'm supposed to drop a pebble in the water here and it's going to turn into tsunami, but I need your help for that. This is where the participation really is important. So if you haven't yet commented, now's a good time to do it, but you could also share. So if you don't want to comment right now, which I get sometimes where whatever device we're on doesn't make that happen, share it with somebody. The person you're thinking about right now probably needs that text message that says, hey, go check this thing out. It's pretty cool. Or if you have a tribe that you can share it with that makes sense, do that. Anything you can do that makes it useful, not just because you want to help me, though I appreciate that. It's because you want to help everybody else understand kind of where you're getting to now. And you're like, oh, other people need to know this. And that's why you do it. Like, I appreciate that if you're trying to help me out too. I do truly, but don't make that the only reason. Do it because other people need to experience this, because that's kind of what I'm doing it for. I'm doing this right now, live streaming at 9:44 a.m. on Central Texas time, here on December the 2nd, 2025, because this has been an amazing experience for me, and it is still an amazing experience for me. I'm just demonstrating it live so that hopefully you can start to model it. And I'm going to be doing a lot of this. And the gems will make it a lot more fun, because then it becomes like magic. But now at least I'm showing you the gears of the machine. And tomorrow we get out of the machine and we just got to go into this whole other level. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up before I go too long. Thank you again. Any questions, whatever you have, pop them in the comments. Participate in the communities if you're a part of those. And thanks again for being a part of This Is Your Mind on AI on the YouTube channel. Take care.